Well, welcome back to the worm. I've been out here twice today already, trying to get started on this little project. Oh, hi there. He smells the treats. Do you want these? It's time to get started on the doghouse. Unfortunately, you know, this happens every single video I put out. Something wrong with my back. I'm now pretty well convinced that I blew out a disc. I've had a few bad discs for many years and causes short-term problems. It goes away, I'm fine for months, and then it comes back a little bit. I don't know what it is, like 2-3 months straight of pain now. And I guess the good thing is that it's not really affected by doing this kind of work. It's just like random, fairly major pain here and there, especially in the morning. Once I'm loosened up, it seems to be all right. So we're gonna give this a go, especially since we don't have to lift logs anymore. We're gonna build Kuiper a nice big doghouse. 3 walls that go around. I think I decided it's gonna go to the stud right there, and then it's gonna go 1, 2, 3 studs over, and the door is gonna be between these 2 studs here. And by door, I mean I'm gonna take a chainsaw and cut a hole in the side of the cabin so he can get into it. It looks like we'll be ripping the bottom course off of here of the siding, that cedar siding, and connecting the floor right to the frame here. We'll come out an unknown distance and put 1 or 2 or however many feet we need concrete pads in here. And then I guess the height is fixed. I think I'm gonna attach the roof right below that window. We're gonna go mill up all the lumber for this because we've got those 3 disgusting pine logs. You remember from the last video we drug all 3 of them over there to the sawhorses. One of them we picked up with the new lifter arm. And that's already on the sawhorses, ready to go. So we're gonna see how many 2x4s we get out of it. Kuiper is working on clearing the footing area, so that's nice. Oh, I'm so curious to see what's in these logs. Are we gonna get anything usable out of this? Oh, well, you knew that was gonna happen. Pushes the sawdust down on his own, and then he tries to figure out what that stuff is moving out from underneath his feet. I'm pretty sure he doesn't realize that this sawdust pile game only works for a limited time. I bet it was probably a good 1.5 foot higher. Let's turn it into a pancake. So one more reason that I'm gonna mill all this stuff first before I do footings and all that is I'm gonna use this lumber to determine the size of the doghouse. I don't know how big to make it. I was on my phone earlier this morning looking up like how big is the biggest Bernese Mountain Dog, and they give like measurements at the shoulder. I don't know. What does that mean walking around inside of it and curled up? No idea. But it looks to me like we'll get some 2x4s out of these that are at least 6 feet long. So once we have all this milled up and see how much lumber we actually get out of it, we can figure out the size of the building based on the longest 2x4s, 2x6s. There's going to be a lot of garbage wood out of these, but I think we'll get like even this board here, this slab is going to have a giant hole in the middle of it, but you still got a 4 foot 2x4, 2x6. Yeah, actually this one you'd be lucky to get a 2x4 out of there. So let's do it. We really just want to mill this one up so we can use this to lift those, pull the 4-wheeler over here. If you didn't see this thing getting built, that was one of the more funner things I've done in the last who knows how long. Pull the 4-wheeler up right here, thread the winch through there, and through that eyelet there. Drop it down with some log tongs, and then just by hand, you bring it over, set it down with the winch. This one's missing something, did you notice that? Still haven't put it together since the saw got smashed. I don't know when that was, a month ago or something. I assume that chain got as bent as the bar. I think it's still, let's go have a look. Still have the trophy here. Pretty good work, huh? Hey, dirt ball, you wanna come with? Come on. He's gotten used to being around the noise of the smaller saws, but I don't know how he's gonna be. That 661 is a lot louder, and you're not just going room, room, room and making a couple cuts. Like milling is full throttle. So I brought out a whole tin full of treats. I'm gonna pack one pocket full. I'll make a cut and I can look over and see if he's napping under the picnic table. If he is, great. If he's not there, we'll practice his come command, which he's now friggin' great at again. Here's the big tree that fell on my saw. Oh. I had nothing to do with it at all. It was not my fault. Yep, the chain's still there. Wow, it doesn't look like it kinked it up. Nope, it did. Yeah, it definitely did. It's probably straighten outable, but yeah, there's not that much of that chain left anyway. I forgot to look and see how bad this thing was. That end's not good, but that end is good. So if we need some roofing, like everything else, we'll probably do it in aspen. We can use this log. And if we do that, bring the four-wheeler back here, we'll see if we can pull the rest of this branch down and get that chain out of there. Ooh, those are good dog treats too. Oh, he's under the table. Guess we'll just let him stay there. I think all good saw pants should come with one pocket that's just for dog treats. Got a sharp one with one cut left on it. It's right down to the lines. Guess we might as well use it up. Still asleep. You could sleep through anything. Maybe we're not going to get any good stuff out of this. You take the first slab off, you can see good stuff before you get to the garbage. We're still going to do it because I'm always amazed at how many short 2x4 pieces you need. So even if we can only cut little chunks out like that, it'll be fine. Wow, these holes are nuts. Log, log, log. Full of ants. All right, not much in that one. It'll take another maybe 10 minutes to slab the rest of this. So I'm just gonna slab it. Maybe there'll be something good in it, or maybe it'll just be firewood. But if there's a chance that there's a little piece of doghouse in here, it'd be a shame to throw it away now. Dang, look at that honeycomb. Crazy. Sorry guys, you're gonna go for quite a ride in a minute. Kuiper, come. You gonna show up? Look at this guy. Oh boy, don't take my fingers off, thank you. Oh, what were you into? You are so friggin' sticky. I've been pretty good about brushing him every single day since I've got him, and he needs to be, like, this is all sap. I don't know where he gets it. That's all sap right there. If I didn't brush him for a week, he would just be, I don't know what he would look like. He'd barely look like a dog. Yeah, just right here looking down at him, I could see 4 big blobs of sap in his fur. 5. I probably should have just chucked this log. I don't know, I just thought they were ants, but they're definitely termites. Luckily I got bug killer and I hosed everything down. We'll have to see if these other logs, if they're just rotty in the center or if they're eaten up like this. I'm glad this isn't right up against the cabin or anything. Although I think I did treat, do you remember? Did I treat all the wood in there with some kind of bug killer? I can't remember. shaped log. Seriously, how sweet is that? Why didn't I just do this earlier? Actually, it's probably because if I'd thought about it much, I wouldn't have guessed it would work. I don't think we can pick up any size log, but we could add 3-4 feet onto this. It would still go up, I'm pretty sure. It's fairly rad, whether you know it or not. I don't think I'm going to be able to make this work. It's got way too much of a hump in it, so you put the plate on even all the way up, and the plate all the way up there, and you put the bars on. Well, I guess I could skin the whole top of this by hand if I have to. Ideally, you just cut it back to like here and get this crotch out of here, get that knot out of there, but it won't be long enough to sit on my sawhorses. I don't usually use logs this curved, but we're in a tight spot. Might be able to remill this slab. Oh, it's really close. Set it aside. There's just enough there to remill it. See, we don't have to throw this away. That's probably 2 6-foot 2x4s right there. Yeah, we got a lot of good lumber out of that one. I chopped up most of the first log, just kept these two and these little pieces that'll kind of weasel a board out here or there. But we got 4 nice ones out of that last one with the crotch on it. You know, there's a couple iffy spots, but we'll cut around those. All right, let's lift the last heavy one. This is not going to be enough lumber to frame the whole doghouse. We'll have to find something else around here. Oh yeah, we've got those random spruce logs. I don't know how good they are. They're not super huge, but nice and straight. Ooh, I don't know, the bark's completely gone almost on those, so maybe they're not good inside. This one has a bug hole through the middle. Man, it's so nice and straight, and there is, I think there's a fair amount of good wood in it. Somebody tell me what's the right thing to do. Over the years, you've seen I've milled up a lot of logs that have holes in them, but those beetles go in there and they cut these long, narrow tunnels, like just big enough for themselves to get through. And it seems like these, pretty sure they're termites, get in the middle of the log, probably because it's already rotten in there and they just fill out the middle. So you'd think you wouldn't want to deal with lumber that has a bunch of termites in it, or could still have termites in it. But the good thing is, they're right here and they're not out here, and if they are, you can see the passageways going into the wood, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm just gonna make a termitey mess around here again. Oh, well, I already did it once. It must be the heaviest one because it's actually dragging the machine. Well, it's not going to go any further now. One other thing I have a hard time doing is when I use the manual log lifter to get a really heavy log up here. Once it's there, I can't slide it back and forth. I've tried a whole bunch of different ways to do it, but if it's heavy enough, it just stays right there. And I like to have it centered or even pulled a little bit down here towards the tree. This one's not hanging off much, but I kind of want to see if this, I think this would just slide it right along. Ooh, that's a good start. I started milling with a new chain on there. I got through 2 logs. By the second half of the second log, it was really slowing down. I was like, what is the matter? Did you ever for a minute wonder why I was milling with the bark on? It didn't even cross my mind. Whatever dirt was in these logs when I started just got sent through the chains. Oh, look how easy it peels too. Nothing to it. I think maybe I was just a little too excited to use the log lifter. Lots of little grubs in there. You probably think it's delicious. Now that's weird. The log from the same tree and no bugs. Makes me wonder if they moved in after the logs were cut and it was laying on the ground, and these holes are just from some other kind of bug. Yeah, this doesn't have the same look to it. This is just standard Roddy. Well, we got a lot of weird stuff out of that one. I don't know how much of it'll be usable, but at least they're not sitting over there on the ground in my way. What is the noise over here? I was just over here setting up the next log and I hear this noise. I'm like, I don't even have any idea what that noise could be. It sounds like a couple of 7-year-old boys beating each other to death with pizza boxes or something. Those would be very easy to lift up by hand, but I'll have none of that. Why would you? What you going after, buddy? Used to be able to walk right through here. It was all clear. Yeah, put it back, buddy. Got more good stuff out of those 3 crappy logs than I did out of those 3 huge, also crappy logs. That right there is a good start on a doghouse. It's a nice, breezy, coolish day, high of 71, I think. I just got all the saw stuff out, tripped these all up into 2x4s, and then I realized I haven't ran the generator in many months. I don't know how many, but certainly since I brought the solar panels back out. So we're gonna attempt to rip these up with the old corded circular saw, just to give the generator a little workout. Even the corded saw doesn't do too well with this pine, especially if it was wet and then you happen to mill it up and you happen to leave it out overnight in the rain. But we'll just see. If it pushes through there, we'll use it. If not, we'll chainsaw it. Let's start with the garbagiest stuff, because it's not good. Oh my gosh, yeah, that is waterlogged. It's gonna be the least fun to do. Got a little lazy when I was milling, and I didn't crank the clasps down all the way on one of the passes. So as I was going, the bar came down And they ended up with the board on one end, it's like over 2 inches, and the other end it's some random number, and it's not even from side to side. So I think I'm going to rip this into a little bit narrower than a 2x4. And then instead of trying to measure around all these holes and everything, I can just take this and lay it on and draw the lines. You can kind of see where you can get a 2x out of it. It could probably be used somewhere where it won't, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't matter, right in the middle of one of the walls or something if it was extra thick. Well, we can still use it when we're done. I'm gonna have to cut the lines off and it should be about right. We got a 1.5 foot 2x4 out of that slab. Oh, look at this one, comes with a handle. That's nice. Does your lumber have handles? Didn't think so. You ever watch these videos and say, I wonder why the hell that guy spends so much time making garbage 2x4s? That's probably less than $100 right there laying on the ground, but you know what? It's fun. It's just fun. You got some crap old logs laying there in the way that are all rotted up, and you can actually take half a day and turn them into something you could build a doghouse out of. That's so freaking cool. You'd think after all the time I've been out here doing this over and over that it wouldn't be fun anymore, but it really is. Oh, I still have more garbage boards over here. We get a couple 2x out of those. And then we got these that are not really so bad. I was thinking though, if I have to make a floor frame and floor joist, I mean, it's not going to be very big, but a 2x4 is going to be enough for that. I could probably get 2x6s out of all these. Maybe I should save these. I'm thinking, without thinking, that we're going somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 or 5 or 6 feet by 4 or 5 or 6 feet. That'd be a pretty hefty doghouse, wouldn't it? I just realized that one of the sides is predetermined by where the studs are here. I was going to go there to there. The desk is right here. I don't know if this is a dumb idea. Could go one more stud over. God, that'd be huge though. If only I knew how big he was going to get. Did you hear us talking about you? How big are you going to get? Tell me. Come here, Dusty Snoot. Tell me what your plans are for the future. By chance, I just talked to Sarah, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm standing here trying to figure out how big to make this doghouse." I said I could either make it round about this size, or I can go over one more stud and make it huge. And she said, "It doesn't matter as long as it's big enough that I can sleep in there with all the dogs." I was like, "Are you serious?" Yeah. So that settles that. We're going to the next stud. All right, so we're back to about 5.5 feet by whatever. So there's our floor frame. And when you make the lumber by yourself, you actually use less wood if you put more joists and more studs rather than spacing them out, because all the wall boards and floorboards, you end up cutting off whole bunches of tails. If we did 16 on center, there's 1, 2, 3. We just need 3. 1, 2, 3. And that leaves all this stuff to play with. More tubies. I'm trying to wait till there's shade on this side of the building, but then I have to wait another 8 or 10 hours for that work table to be in the shade too. It's just not going to work out. I think I have to quit. Man, my roof tar has held up really well on this. I don't know why it works so much better on the cabin than the other stuff I built. Maybe there's just less shrinkage. Yeah, it's holding. I have no idea how long it's been since I did this. Certainly more than a year. I don't know if you can see, but there are no cracks in it or anything. Still tacky in there, that's nice. Makes a great seal. Oh no. We're gonna have to cut this. It goes underneath this corner trim and there's no way I'm taking that off. Yeah, that would involve taking the propane out and everything. All right, we'll just, maybe we'll just trim it off right there. So that wall will get nailed in through there into the stud. So yeah, I guess eventually it'll get cut out like that, right? And then this one, pretty much right there. And this wall's not getting cut out. This will just stay here because the door only goes to over there, right? Right? Watch your face. That don't make no sense. Should go to right there. So the floor frame can go to there, and then the stud wall can still attach to this. Again, is this making any sense? I don't know if it is. Just so we don't get bugs in there until we get this all covered back up, let's tape it down. I was able to remove a few things and we can get to it. I guess we don't need this insulation anymore, do we? We just chop it, rip it out of there. So there's one stud. That's the one we're cutting out. That's the third. We haven't looked in here in a long time. Look at that. That was very, very wet. Do you remember frozen, completely saturated lumber when we built the cabin? Not a spot of mold or mildew or bugs or anything. There's always somebody breathing over your shoulder when you're working. Oh snap, I'm glad I did this because I wasn't even thinking about this. This all needs to get cut out of here. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to rip the whole desk out of here and cut it down too because it sticks over a ways. After playing with that epoxy, and I think it was the last video or a couple videos ago, I'm freaking excited to fill in the holes in this. I don't know if you remember, there are, I mean this is gorgeous, gorgeous cedar, but there are some rot holes in it that I just left. I figured someday I'd fill them in. Those 3 boards, we'll take them out of here, we'll fill them with epoxy, we'll refinish them. Man, building a doghouse is a big project for some of us. Alright, so that's going to be our 2x4 that holds up the header. So we're going to cut the siding right there. There we go, through to the outside. And I guess we might as well pull a piece of this out and then we can cut through and that'll mark the outside. We'll know where the top of the floor is. See if we can finish that with the jiggle. So there's the floor right there. we're just about exactly an inch at the bottom of this, so we can put our floor frame up to that and then level it across. And we've got 64 3/4. So I guess we use these two against the building, parallel to that, and then these go out. We'll cut that one in half. It's so funny how hard it is to picture the size of these things until you get something together. Now I'm really glad I didn't make it smaller. And then you get the walls in there all the way around. It's going to shrink quite a bit more. Closed all the windows in the cabin. Just before I came out here, it was like 63 or 64 in there. So hopefully it's going to feel air conditioned for a few more hours. Kuiper's already in the air conditioning under here. You digging out my footings, dum-dum. He's been over playing with the prototype tether ball we made a while ago. I still haven't gotten around to moving it to another tree or putting an actual stake in there, but I bet he's been over there. Woo! That scared me. See the size of those guys? He's not a particularly big one. That's the Sawyer beetle? Arbor beetle, I can never remember. He spent an hour over there just yanking on that thing and shaking it and growling. I went over to watch for a minute, and he let go of the ball, it popped out of his mouth, and just blood started pouring out. It's like, holy crap. I looked on the ground, I thought it was a piece of his tongue, but it was just his baby teeth. That was like 20 minutes ago, and now he's chewing on lumber again, so I guess he's okay. Doesn't hurt your gums, huh? I don't see any blood on the sticks. It gives me the shivers to think about having a piece of that in my mouth. Just decided to come sit in the shade for a minute, think about these floor joists, try to decide if it's worth trimming the bottoms of them off so there's not that live edge. Because if I actually make them 16 on center, then I can use the leftover wall insulation from the cabin on the floor, and then with the flat bottoms of the joists, nail a whole bunch of something to the bottom and close it all in. Although that little tiny bit of bubble foil in the cabin floor, it made a big enough difference that there's not ever a night, morning, day, anything in the winter that I wish there was more insulation in the floor. Seems bonkers, doesn't it? If you didn't see that going in, I'll put a link here and a link in the description. If you got a cabin or something, you need a little more insulation in the floor, consider it. So we're just gonna do I got so much, a whole half a roll of bubble foil left. You know what we'll do if it ends up being too cold? We can put floor inside up, like on top. Like those big squares of locked together foam or something like that. We'll figure something out. Let's just slap these on like they are. Got a couple of splits. One there and one there. This one goes all the way down. Probably have to Gorilla Glue this before we put it up to the cabin. Well, nothing more we can do right now till it cools off. And we got 2 more cracks to glue, so we gotta let that harden. I don't have enough clamps to go all the way around. And Kuiper says we should call it a day, so if you want to come back next week, we'll attach that floor, maybe get the hydraulic jack out and hold it there and figure out the feet. Maybe we should just have a quick look at how tall this thing's going to be. Oh wow, it's actually not going to be very tall at all. This will be, if a human wants to go in there, it'll be a crawl in. So the floor is going to go about there, and the roof's going to come down something like that. Wow, I'm not sure what else we could do. Well, we could make the roof really tall here and then come down around the window and make a shorter roof. That's what I'm going to do, is go back and forth between roof and roof. So at least half the time I'm saying it right. That would be pretty sweet. I think we should do that. Make a tall roof where the door is to come in from the cabin, come out from the cabin, and then a shorter one over here. Because I'm thinking this is the side we'll hinge this whole door open. It doesn't need to be giant. You'd be able to get in there through there. That would be rad. And it would give me the opportunity to make it a little more silly than just a box, kind of like this thing. Remember, the propane roof just needed to be a rectangle coming down, but I like doing stuff like that. And then this way too, it goes up and curves over a little bit. Character. We like character around here. Thanks for watching. See you next Saturday. We'll get some more of this done, hopefully. Oh, excuse me, sir. I don't think we'll introduce him to the dog. Better move him away. Okay, have fun. Peace.